Okay.
Okay, my biography speech is over. This guy was the man back in this time. His name was Dan Hodge. He was born May 13th, 1932. He was grown up in Perry, Oklahoma. He was a famous Oklahoma historical athlete in his time. He grew up in a very hard childhood. He was beaten very badly by his father. He moved from family member to family member. He went from his uncle's house to his grandfather's house, and his grandfather was mainly the one who beat him the most. During his middle school years, he started wrestling in 8th grade. He went from 8th grade on to high school in Perry, doing some wrestling there, and he wasn't really well known then until he was 19 and went into the Navy. He enlisted into the Navy. It was about 1951. Keep going. He joined the Navy in 1951 in Ames, Iowa. And from there, they never did have a wrestling program there. But as soon as Dan came, he was talking to everybody and wanted this wrestling program because he just loved wrestling so much. And he finally got it. He was the team star pretty much. He ran the team, and from that point on, he went straight to the Olympics. And he took 5th in 1952 and actually got a silver medal in 1956 in Melbourne, Australia. After the Olympics, he went to OU, and he was actually an NCAA 3-time champion, and he had gone undefeated. He was 46-0. He had 36 pins altogether. After his whole Wrestling Hall of Fame throughout college, he ended up becoming a professional wrestler for 18 years. He was a 5-time USA Tag Team Champion, and one of his actually tag team members was Skandor Akbar, and many more. But some of his major awards was actually a 3-time undefeated NCAA wrestling champion. One of the cool things that I thought was really neat, he was the first wrestler that actually had titles in wrestling and a title in boxing. He got put on the Sports Illustrated cover, and that was April 1st, 1957. He was actually the National Golden Gloves boxing champion at that time. He had actually got abducted into the Wrestling Hall of Fame in 1972. And another neat thing, in 1997, they came up with a trophy named after Dan Hodge, as it kind of replaces the Heisman Trophy for wrestling champions. And another thing, what I thought was really cool, this book, the last time me personally, have seen Dan was about 6 months ago, and it was at JR's barbecue restaurant. And my dad and I were there, and he had actually signed the book, and I talked to him, and this guy's hands is probably, they're huge. He could take an apple with one hand and crush it. He actually did it back in 2005 on the NCAA. If y'all want to look at that, you can. On 2005 or 2006, in the NCAA Wrestling Championship, he actually did it on national television, which I thought was really cool. So he's actually up there with Jim Ford, all those Oklahoma historic athletes. So he was a hero to me.